So she actually was holding on to hope that she was going to marry Dougal McGregor, and this freed her from that. Oh my goodness. And what happened to. All right, I got to keep reading. I'm just. Oh, wow. So I'm reading through each of the 30 or 40 snippets that are posted on Pottermore, things after the books that JK Rowling has put out there into the world that are official canon as far as I can tell. So let's read some bonus content on Professor McGonagall. Minerva McGonagall was the first child and only daughter of a Scottish Presbyterian minister and a Hogwarts educated witch. Okay, so her mom was a witch. She grew up in the Highlands of Scotland and only gradually became aware that there was something strange both about her own abilities and her parents' marriage. Minerva's father, the Reverend Robert McGonagall, okay, had become captivated by the high-spirited, I'm going to pronounce it, Isabel Ross, who lived in the same village. Like his neighbors, Robert believed that Isabel attended a select ladies' boarding school in England. In fact, when Isabel vanished from her home for months at a time, it was to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry that she went. Wonder who she went to school with. McGonagall's a little older, so in theory she'd be a little older before Voldemort. I'm curious who the headmaster was. Okay. Aware that her parents, a witch and a wizard, would frown on a connection with the serious young muggle, Isabel kept their burgeoning relationship a secret. By the time she was 18, she had fallen in love with Robert. Unfortunately, she had not found the courage to tell him what she was. Oh. The couple eloped. Whoa, they got that far? To the fury of both sets of parents. Now estranged from her family, Isabel could not bring herself to mar the bliss of the honeymoon by telling her smitten new husband that she had graduated top of her class in charms at Hogwarts, nor that she had been captain of the school Quidditch team. Oh, respect. Isabel and Robert moved into a manse. Oh, okay. On the outskirts of Caithness? Katniss. I don't know. Where the beautiful Isabel proved surprisingly adept at making the most of the minister's tiny salary. She might have had a little help, stretching some of those wizarding rules a little bit, making things a little easier in the muggle world. The birth of the young couple's first child, Minerva, proved both a joy and a crisis. Missing her family and the magical community she had given up for love, Isabel insisted on naming her newborn daughter after her own grandmother, an immensely talented witch. Oh, awesome. This outlandish name raised eyebrows in the community in which she lived, and the Reverend Robert McGonagall found it difficult to explain his wife's choice to his parishioners. Furthermore, he was alarmed by his wife's moodiness. What does that mean? Friends assured him that women were often emotional after the birth of a baby, and that Isabel would soon be herself again. Ooh, intriguing. What's this about? Isabel, however, became more and more withdrawn, often secluding herself with Minerva for days at a time. Oh, because McGonagall, maybe I can't call her McGonagall right now. Minerva would then be learning about her magic and needing to learn from her mother, but it would come off like she was withdrawn. Okay, that's tough. Isabel later told her daughter that she had displayed small but unmistakable signs of magic from her earliest hours. I wonder what those signs were. She must have been very in tune with magic, kind of like we speculated about Dumbledore. Was he able to see magic in a way that most wizards couldn't? And maybe McGonagall's mom was the same way. Toys that had been left on upper shelves were found in her cot. The family cat appeared to do her bidding before she could talk. Oh, that's sick. Her father's bagpipes were occasionally heard to play themselves from distant rooms, a phenomenon that made the infant Minerva chuckle. All right, the cat makes sense. Love that. It's kind of like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's also her Patronus. It's what she transforms into. So she had a cat connection. She's an animagus, but was she born an animagus, or did she have to go through the process of becoming an animagus? But the weird one is the bagpipes. So music is something more powerful than anything taught at Hogwarts, according to Dumbledore. So it's curious that she was able to play or get bagpipes to play themselves, because I always wanted there to be more with something with music beyond just lulling Fluffy to sleep. So anyways, maybe there was a little bit more with the morning song of the Phoenix or something, but I never heard any confirmation of that. That was like an open-ended thing. So I love seeing stuff like that. Okay. Made the infant Minerva chuckle. Okay. Isabel was torn between pride and fear. She knew that she must confess the truth to Robert before he witnessed something that would alarm him. At last, in response to Robert's patient questioning, Isabel burst into tears, retrieved her wand from the locked box under her bed, and showed him what she was. Wow, that's a big moment. Although Minerva was too young to remember that night, its aftermath left her with a bitter understanding of the complications of growing up with magic in a muggle world. Although Robert McGonagall loved his wife no less upon discovering that she was a witch, he was profoundly shocked by her revelation and by the fact that she had kept such a secret from him for so long. What was more, he, who prided himself on being an upright and honest man, was now drawn into a life of secrecy that was not quite foreign to his nature. That was quite foreign to his nature. Yeah, so he wasn't used to secrets. He wanted to just be honest, and now he's burdened with the secret. Oh man, that's so tough. I wonder if he would even want to just be obliviated so that he would never know. And then whenever it has to come up, she could explain it to him. I'm thinking of 50 First Dates or something. It's like, he doesn't know, but then every once in a while she can reveal it to him and say, I've told you before. And every time we come to this conclusion that you don't want to lie to your parishioners or anyone else. So then I wipe your memory. Anyways, getting sidetracked. Isabel explained through her sobs that she and their daughter were bound by the International Statute of Secrecy and that they must conceal the truth about themselves or face the fury of the Ministry of Magic. Robert also quailed at the thought of how the locals, in the main an austere, straight-laced, conventional breed, would feel about having a witch as their minister's wife. Love endured, but trust had been broken between her parents. Should have been honest up front. And Minerva, a clever and observant child, saw this with sadness. 2 more children, both sons, were born to the McGonagalls, and both, in due course, revealed magical ability. Cool. Minerva helped her mother explain to Malcolm and Robert Jr. that they must not flaunt their magic, and aided her mother in concealing from their father the accidents and embarrassments their magic sometimes caused. So, concealing those accidents from the rest of the world, I get. But concealing them from the father, doesn't that just make him feel more isolated? I get why they would do it, but it doesn't feel like the right approach because didn't they already learn that breaking the trust wasn't a good thing? I don't know. But we haven't heard much about her brothers. I don't remember hearing that in the books at all. Malcolm and Robert Jr. Okay. Wow. Oh, this is long. Minerva was very close to her Muggle father, whom in temperament she resembled more than her mother. She saw with pain how much he struggled with the family's strange situation. She sensed, too, how much of a strain it was for her mother to fit in with the all Muggle village, and how much she missed the freedom of being with her kind, and of exercising her considerable talents. Minerva never forgot how much her mother cried when the letter of admittance to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry arrived on Minerva's 11th birthday. She knew that Isabel was sobbing not only out of pride, but also out of envy. Now this is interesting because in a previous video, it was mentioned that it was a myth that Hogwarts letters arrive on someone's 11th birthday. And the reason they explained that this was a myth is because Harry's letter actually was trying to reach him for weeks before, and his family was preventing the letters from getting to him. And then eventually he opened the letter on his 11th birthday, right? So now this seems to counter that because this is saying she actually did. McGonagall received her letter on her 11th birthday. So that brings up 2 things. One, did Dumbledore or someone through divination or whatever else, did they know Harry ultimately needed to be able to open his letter on his 11th birthday? And then they had to send it weeks in advance, knowing that it wouldn't actually get to him for a few weeks? Or does McGonagall have the same birthday or around the same birthday as Harry, where she received it on her 11th birthday, which also happened to be 6 or 8 weeks out from the start of the school year, which would mean she was born sometime in July? Now, that's really interesting because this actually, in some ways, feels like it's counter to what we've heard. The myth that it's the 11th birthday, but this means it is maybe not a myth unless McGonagall has the same or a very similar birthday to Harry, or it was just pure happenstance that she got hers on her 11th birthday as well, because that is a strange one. Okay, so we'll move on from that. School career. As is often the case where the young witch or wizard comes from a family who has struggled with its magical identity, Hogwarts was for Minerva McGonagall a place of joyful release and freedom. Minerva drew unusual attention to herself on her very first evening when she was revealed to be a hat stall. And we learned about the hat stall because it's when the hat has an extra hard time placing someone in their house. So if the sorting hat is taking more than 5 minutes, that person is a hat stall, and there haven't been very many of those. And it goes on to explain. After 5.5 minutes, the sorting hat, which had been vacillating between the House of Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, placed Minerva in the latter. So we had already seen this in one of the other writings. In the later years, this circumstance was a subject of gentle humor between Minerva and her colleague Phileas Flitwick, over whom the sorting hat suffered the same confusion but reached the opposite conclusion. The two heads of houses were amused to think that they might, but for those crucial moments in their youths, have exchanged positions. It's pretty funny. Minerva was quickly recognized as the most outstanding student of her year. Love that. With a particular talent for transfiguration. As she progressed through school, she demonstrated that she had inherited both her mother's talents and her father's cast iron moral sense. Love it. Minerva's school career overlapped by 2 years with that of Pomona Sprout, Hufflepuff House. All right, nice. Later head of Hufflepuff House, and the two women enjoyed an excellent relationship both then and in later years. Love that, because you see that friendship that really spans over all the years. By the end of her education at Hogwarts, Minerva McGonagall had achieved an impressive record, top grades in OWLs, and Newt's Prefect Head Girl, winner of the Transfiguration Today's Most Promising Newcomer Award. How come we never saw anyone reading Transfiguration Today? Under the guidance of her inspirational transfiguration teacher, Albus Dumbledore. Cool. I didn't realize he was a transfiguration teacher. You know why? Because we never see him transfigure, right? We never see him transfigure at all. Oh man, my head is spinning because think of all the things that now it makes me wonder, if he was so good at transfiguring and we never saw it, was he ever transfigured without us knowing it? Was he ever out there being something without us realizing? What if it was a cat? What if it was Crookshanks? What if he was just, flying around being a bird that actually was a phoenix or something, because it's his Patronus, right? So a lot of times it seems like you could be an animagus or transfigure into whatever your Patronus is. Maybe that's easier than transfiguring into some other animal or thing. Oh man, that's so intriguing. Dumbledore was the transfiguration teacher. I either didn't know it or I forgot it. She had managed to become an animagus, her animal form, with its distinctive markings. A tabby cat, square spectacle markings around the eyes, were duly logged in the Ministry of Magic's animagus registry. Minerva was also, like her mother, a gifted Quidditch player. That's why she loved that Harry played Quidditch. Although a nasty fall in her final year, a foul during the Gryffindor versus Slytherin game, which would decide the cup winner, left her with concussion, several broken ribs, and a lifelong desire to see Slytherin crushed on the Quidditch pitch. Oh, wow, that's so great. Though she gave up Quidditch on leaving Hogwarts, the innately competitive Professor McGonagall later took a keen interest in the fortunes of her house team and retained a keen eye for Quidditch talent. So true, that's how she found Harry. Oh, no. I don't want to see heartbreak. I'm not ready. Early heartbreak. Upon graduation from Hogwarts, Minerva returned to the manse to enjoy one last summer with her family before setting out for London, where she had been offered a position at the Ministry of Magic, the Department of Magical Law Enforcement. I respect that. These months were to prove some of the most difficult of Minerva's life, for it was then, aged only 18, that she proved herself truly her mother's daughter by falling head over heels in love with a muggle boy. I love that she wasn't muggle racist, though, so that's great. But man, oh, it's so tough. Was she honest with him? Let's see. Oh, no, but the heartbreak. Maybe she was honest, and then he broke it off, and then she had to obliviate him. Oh, no. Okay, wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. It was the first and only time in Minerva McGonagall's life that she might have been said to lose her head. Dougal McGregor? That's not a name we have in the States, so Dougal. Dougal McGregor was the handsome, clever, and funny son of a local farmer. Though less beautiful than Isabel, Minerva was clever and witty. Dougal and Minerva shared a sense of humor, argued fiercely, and suspected mysterious depths in each other. Ooh, what were his mysterious depths? Before either of them knew it, Dougal was on one knee in a plowed field proposing, and Minerva was accepting him. Oh boy, it's cute, but we know it ends in heartbreak. She went home, intending to tell her parents of her engagement, yet found herself unable to do so. All that night she lay awake, thinking about her future. Dougal did not know what she, Minerva, truly was, any more than her father had known the truth about Isabel before they had married. Minerva had witnessed at close quarters the kind of marriage she might have if she wed Dougal. It would be the end of all her ambitions. It would mean a wand locked away and children taught to lie, perhaps even to their own father. She did not fool herself that Dougal McGregor would accompany her to London while she went to work every day at the ministry. He was looking forward to inheriting his father's farm. McGonagall, but then why'd you get this far? You don't let it get this far if you've already known all this. Oh, goodness. Early the next morning, Minerva slipped from her parents' house and went to tell Dougal that she had changed her mind and could not marry him, mindful of the fact that if she broke the international statute of secrecy, she would lose the job at the ministry for which she was giving him up. She could give him no good reason for her change of heart. She left him devastated and set out for London 3 days later. But McGonagall, why didn't you think this through when you were first falling head over heels? You were 18, though. You were young. It's summer love. I get it. He was probably looked great plowing his fields. Come on. But, man. And then the heartbreak. Ouch. Though undoubtedly her feelings for the Ministry of Magic were colored by the fact that she had recently suffered an emotional crisis, Minerva McGonagall did not much enjoy her new home and workplace. Some of her coworkers had an ingrained anti-Muggle bias, which, given her adoration for her Muggle father and her continuing love for Dougal McGregor, she deplored. Though a most efficient and gifted employee, and fond of her much older boss, Elphinstone Urquhart. Do we know that name? No, I don't think so. Minerva was unhappy in London and found that she missed Scotland. Well, she was fond of her boss. Is that like in a weird way or just like he's a good guy? Finally, after 2 years at the ministry, she was offered a prestigious promotion, yet found herself turning it down. She sent an owl to Hogwarts, asking whether she might be considered for a teaching post. The owl returned within hours, offering her a job in the Transfiguration Department under head of department Albus Dumbledore. Well, that's also a funny thing, head of department, because that kind of implies that there are multiple teachers within the department, but it often to us seems like it was just one teacher per class, which would be like the whole department. So maybe there were some structural changes within Hogwarts where this was at a different time, and then by the time we saw Hogwarts, maybe enrollment was a little bit down and things were a little different, or maybe when Dumbledore became headmaster, he kind of streamlined some of these departments. Okay, interesting. Friendship with Albus Dumbledore. The school greeted Minerva McGonagall's return with delight. Minerva threw herself into her work, proving herself a strict but inspirational teacher. If she kept letters from Dougal McGregor locked in a box under her bed, this was, she told herself firmly, better than keeping her wand locked there. But maybe. Nevertheless, it was a shock to learn from the oblivious Isabel in the middle of a chatty letter of local news that Dougal had married the daughter of another farmer. Oh, ouch. Albus Dumbledore discovered Minerva in tears in her classroom late that evening, and she confessed the whole story to him. Albus Dumbledore offered both comfort and wisdom, and told Minerva some of his own family history previously unknown to her. The confidences exchanged that night between two intensely private and reserved characters were to form the basis of a lasting mutual esteem and friendship. Wow, that is cute. I'm glad they were able to both share to each other. It's funny then because it feels like McGonagall became a little bit more open, and Dumbledore is very warm and friendly, but he still remained a reserved character, and it took a long time for any of the details of his life to come out to people like Harry. But I don't know. It's interesting. I'm glad they were able to be friends, and we still see that through the books. Marriage. Through all her early years at Hogwarts, Minerva McGonagall. Sorry, I'm distracted here, just thinking marriage. This is new to us. Okay. Minerva McGonagall remained on terms of friendship with her old boss at the Ministry. Oh man, nice! I nailed it. She was very fond of him indeed. Elphinstone Urquhart, fond. He came to visit her while on holiday to Scotland, and to her great surprise and embarrassment, proposed marriage in Madame Puttyfoot's tea shop? Wow, Madame Puttyfoot's older than I thought. Okay, so I guess Madame Puttyfoot's not around by the time Harry's there, right? Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. Still in love with Dougal McGregor, Minerva turned him down. So he came up and just went for marriage? He's an old school dude. Elphinstone, however, had never ceased to love her, nor to propose every now and then, even though she continued to refuse him. The death of Dougal McGregor, the roller coaster on this story. Oh my goodness. Poor McGonagall. She's been through so much. How? Oh my. This is traumatic. So Dougal McGregor, however, although traumatic, seemed to free Minerva. So she actually was holding on to hope that she was going to marry Dougal McGregor, and this freed her from that? Oh my goodness. And what happened to... All right, I got to keep reading. Oh, wow. Shortly after Voldemort's first defeat, Elphinstone, now white-haired, proposed again during a summertime stroll around the lake in the Hogwarts grounds. Oh, that's a classic. We saw Hermione and Harry doing that stroll. This time, Minerva accepted. Elphinstone, now retired, was beside himself with joy. Oh, that's so cute. And purchased a small cottage in Hogsmeade for the pair of them, whence Minerva could travel easily to work every day. Oh, I love this guy. He's so great. He just he found the right woman. He wants to live nearby and do what's good for her. He came up to visit. He proposed with no warning. All right. Known to successive generations of students as Professor McGonagall, Minerva, always something of a feminist, announced that she would be keeping her own name upon marriage. Oh, wow, I never even thought about that. Okay, nice. I don't know if that's a little more normal in England, but that's cool. Traditionalists sniffed. Why was Minerva refusing to accept a pure-blood name and keeping that of her Muggle father? Wow, I didn't think about that either. She's keeping the Muggle name instead of... Wait, is Elphinstone? That's his first name. So his last name is Urquhart. Is that that's a pure-blood name, one of the 27 or 29, whatever it was, big wizarding families maybe? Okay. Oh no. The marriage, cut tragically short, though it was destined to be, was a very happy one. Though they had no children of their own, Minerva's nieces and nephews, children of her brothers Malcolm and Robert, were frequent visitors to their home. This was a period of great fulfillment for Minerva. Okay, interesting. And if those kids were traveling with the parents, or maybe they were doing flu powder, that would help get around. Or maybe when they got a little older, they could just pop on over there. So I feel like it's kind of painting so much more about McGonagall that we just never knew. I wish we knew some of this while we were reading about her before. I peeked at the next paragraph. Shoot. It was cut tragically short, and I assumed it was from something just because he was older by nature. But now I'm seeing the accidental death of Elphinstone from a venomous tentacula bite. 3 years into their marriage, oh my goodness, was an enormous sorrow to all who knew the couple. Minerva could not bear to remain alone in their cottage, but packed her things after Elphinstone's funeral and returned to her sparse stone-floored bedroom in Hogwarts Castle, accessible through a concealed door in the wall of her first-floor study. Always a very brave and private person, she poured all her energies into her work, and few people, except perhaps Albus Dumbledore, ever realized how much she suffered. Ah, man, I wish she let a few more people in. That's so sad. Oh, author's notes. Okay. Wow, bonus. So that was it. That's the whole story. I see the little circle thingy at the bottom. So we're at the okay. Minerva was the Roman goddess of warriors and wisdom. William McGonagall is celebrated as the worst poet in British history. Oh wow. I We're planning our trip right now to Scotland, and one of the walking tours around Scotland mentioned the worst poet. So this must be that reference because I didn't know what they were talking about. Okay, William McGonagall celebrated the worst poet in British history. There was something irresistible to me about his name and the idea that such a brilliant woman might be a distant relative of the buffoonish McGonagall. A sample of his work will give a flavor of his unintentional comedic value. The following was written as part of a poem commemorating a Victorian railway disaster. Oh, beautiful railway bridge of the Silvery Tay. Alas, I am very sorry to say that 90 lives have been taken away on the last Sabbath day of 1979, which will be remembered for a very long time. We can blame my cadence a little bit for that one, but yeah, that's a little rough. That feels like someone wrote a poem in another language and they put it into Google Translate or something. Because that was just a little rough. Okay. But wow, all right, that ended so quickly. That I love this one. There was so much to discover about McGonagall. Like this was a very thorough. I mean, it honestly, this was great. I really love this, and I'm hoping of the next ones that I have to read that they're going to be similar to this because we learned a lot, not only about McGonagall specifically, but now we learned a little bit more evidence that people do get their Hogwarts letters on their 11th birthday. If only due to happenstance of the timing, it has happened more than once that we have seen. So I'm starting to think that is true. And we learned a lot more about even Hogsmeade and some of the teachers. And I think it was mentioned in the books, but I forgot that Dumbledore was a Transfiguration teacher and then head of the department. And now that's opening up a lot of possibilities for some sneaky secret things because we never saw him transfigure. And if he is the professor and the head of the department, wouldn't there be a little bit more to that? He must be out there transfiguring at times, but when and why? And do we see that in the books without realizing that we're seeing it? Oh, man. Well, thanks for watching or listening. I hope that my reading was not too obnoxious. I am going to look at a few more of these, and I guess follow if you want to see me read through some more of these. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.